on, everybody? Welcome back to The Truth. Firstly, I'd like to apologize. I'm sorry. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been busy, but I've collected a lot of information for teams and stuff, and I've gone through a bunch. So I have something set up to where we're doing daily mock drafts now. We're this late into the offseason, we're gonna start doing daily mock draft. We're gonna start covering teams and more of the entire NFL. Do kind of things what we think is gonna happen. So this is going to be the first round. I plan on doing day 2 and 3 tomorrow and days 4 through 7 the day after. So similar to how the NFL draft works. So the Bears on the clock. I kind of want to talk through what the Bears' overall possibilities are, some kind of positions they need to fill. Receiver, guard, center, defensive tackle, and quarterback are all things they think they need to fill. They do have pick 9 in this draft as well, so keep your eye out on that. Just going forward, the way you look at the board is okay. I'm looking at the positions I need to fill. I'm looking at those positions. What are the most important positions? Who's available in those positions? I think it's obvious. They're going Caleb Williams. I think that one is kind of where I think that one's not going to be really a surprise. And I think it's kind of obvious that everyone thinks Caleb Williams is the consensus number one overall quarterback. That being said, drafting Caleb Williams. Just gonna mark this off. And then the Bears do pick at 9, so they will pick again. And this is without trades. I don't know if trades are gonna happen. I can't guarantee that. It's a possibility. We'll see. It's up in the air. Commanders on the board. Commanders are also another team where, like, when you look on the board, well, they need quarterback. I think they need linebacker. I think they need a cornerback. So corner, quarterback, and linebacker. Well, looking at the board, kind of looking at it. Okay, second overall pick. Drake May's on the board. Jaden Daniels on the board. JJ McCarthy's on the board, and Michael Penix Jr. is on the board. Okay, well, let's look at the linebackers. Edgerrin Cooper, Peyton Willis, Cedric Wilson, Junior Colson, guys like that. Corners, Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, Khalid McKinstry. So guys like that are on the board. There are some options, but I really do feel like, in my personal opinion, they will go quarterback. I think we're going to get back-to-back quarterbacks, and this is going to be it's tough because here's competing rumors, things around. I might change it depending on what happens. But right now, the big rumor spreading around is they really like Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is their guy. That's who they want from kind of what I've been looking around and hearing and stuff like that. So I'm going Jaden Daniels. It could also be Drake May. Like, this could be, just kind of thrown out there to where it kind of throws everyone off. So that way, they make sure they get Drake May. Pick 3 is where we get interesting. I've been kind of looking through this draft, and this isn't trades. I'm not predicting trades. I'm not really doing that. But kind of going through this draft, there are teams who would be willing to trade up. I don't know if teams would be willing to trade up with the Patriots to give up that pick. The only team I think would be willing to, and who's trying to make an effort to, is the Vikings. The Vikings have acquired 2 first-round picks. Look, you don't acquire 2 first-round picks this early in a draft unless you're trying to trade up the day of the draft or a day before or a day or 2 before to go get your guy. Report has it out right now the Cardinals want 3 first-round picks. Don't think that's going to happen. Why give up 2 first-round picks when the Vikings are asking for a first and a second to trade up? I mean, you have a possibility of getting a quarterback then. Even higher, maybe, you could trade up. But it's just like, you're giving up a lot to trade up one spot. So why if you are going to trade up, why give up a lot just to go one spot? I think the Patriots, basically getting what I'm trying to say, I think the Patriots are a team the Vikings might be in talks with to say, hey, look, this is a team who doesn't have a quarterback and still need to fill out their roster as well. This is a team who needs a lot. Let's make a trade. We'll give you first, second, maybe a pick next year or a player this year that isn't as high of a caliber as what we saw last year, but still something to where they trade back. Okay, they acquired some things that they want. They're still in position to take a quarterback, but they can also take another player as well and build this roster. And the Vikings get a chance to go get their quarterback. I think that's a possibility, but really, that's not what's really happening right now. Getting through it, kind of looking through the rosters, kind of looking through what they need. Patriots need quarterback, tackles, defensive tackle, and cornerback. So kind of look at it. Quarterbacks available: Drake May, JJ McCarthy, and Michael Penix Jr. are still available. Um, some other things they need are tackle: Joel Talisi Fuaga, Olufashanu, Troy Fautanu, guys like that. Um, they do need defensive tackle: Johnny Newton, Byron Murphy, Ruger Aurora, Leonard Taylor are guys available, and cornerback. So Terry Arnold, Quinton Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, Khalid McKinstry, stuff like that. But I think they go Drake May. If I'm being honest, I do think this is a draft where we see back-to-back quarterbacks. Um, like I said before, Drake May could flop with Jaden Daniels. Like those two could flop. I wouldn't be surprised. Oops, didn't want to do that. With the next pick, it's the Cardinals. Right now, the Cardinals really need our receiver, guard, and defensive end. So, if we're really looking at it, receivers available: Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Brian Thomas, guys like that. Tackles could be guards: Lisa Farrago, Troy Fatano, or guys who could be guard. Do you take Matt Four? I don't know. Actual guards: Christian Hayes, Cooper Beebe, Christian Montgomery, Hogany, and Dominic Pooney. Guys are going to go late in the draft. And then defensive end. So edge, Dallas Turner, Leatu Latu, Jared Verse, Chop Robinson, also guys. To note, they also have another first round pick, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I kind of feel like, in this situation, they're going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. I feel like that one's kind of the obvious one. That one's kind of everyone's predicting. Everyone knows it's going to happen. We could see Malik Neighbors, but I do think they're going to go receiver at 4. For the Chargers, coming into this season, coming into this offseason, I thought, they're not going receiver. Now with everything they move receivers on the board, they need 2 of them: nose tackle, an interior linebacker, a safety, a defensive end. So it gets kind of interesting. I don't know if they go O line here. I know that's been kind of spread around. I don't know if that's the case. I know you want to build through the trenches, but you also desperately need weapons. Malik Neighbors is on the board. If I'm being honest, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. With what you have at your receiving core, it's not the most appealing with what you've seen last year. I think receiver makes a lot of sense. They do not have another first round pick, so this is kind of, hey, there's a guy here, take him. He's there. Like it makes a lot of sense. Um, with the 6th pick, the Giants could be interesting. The Giants could have a possibility of things. To note, Darren Waller is considering retirement. Man, the fact that we're this late into the offseason and he hasn't decided yet is kind of crazy. It really makes you think of, like, has he already decided? Has he already told the Giants, hey, I'm retiring, and the Giants have just told him, don't say anything, spread rumors around, let them do what they want to do, and then say, hey, we'll go Brock Bowers to replace him? Or is he still contemplating it? I don't know. It's tough to decide. To note, the Giants do need a cornerback. They need an interior linebacker, a guard, and possibly a tight end. If I know receivers there, they do need more talent at receiver. They need more skill at their position. But do you take Romo Dunze? Do you kind of go get a guy like that? or do you go fill that defensive need? You have bodies at the position. Do you kind of build through that? It's always a possibility. I'm not going to select tight end, even though that is a big possibility. I could see it. He also is a weapon in general. He can move. He's not your typical tight end. So it's going to be really interesting to see. But for right now, I'm going Terry Arnold. Might seem a little high for him, but it's just they need somebody at that cornerback position. I think at this point, with with how much information we don't have, Terry Arnold is probably going to be your guy. Get arguably the best corner on this draft to help you out on your in your secondary. With the next pick, we have the Titans. Things the Titans need. This could very well be tackle here to help out. It could also be, you kind of look at it: linebacker, defensive tackle, defensive end, safety are also some possibilities. They did lose some guys, so I mean, they don't numbers wise they don't need a tackle, but skill wise, I could see them acquiring one. Um, it's tough. I'm going to go in this case defensive end because for so long their big thing was have a great D line and it helps out your defense a lot, and it has. So I'm going Dallas Turner um, because they need number. They need a starter. They don't have numbers at that position, and it just to me it makes a lot of sense. I could also see tackle. I could see Joe Alt there. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Joe Alt. There are multiple things they could do. Um, it's not just one. You consider a lot of things, and this is what they're considering right now. Do we go this or do we go that? If it's available. Um, Falcons are kind of mixing things up now. They need the linebackers. They need an outside linebacker and interior. Yes, they could use some more help at the receiving position and other things, but mainly it's on the defense. It's either going to be edge or linebacker. And right now, I think it's linebacker. I think it's edge. You have multitude of options: Leatu, Jared Verse, Chop Robinson. I'm just going to go Leatu, but it could be something different. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw back-to-back edges fall here. Like that wouldn't necessarily shock me. Um, but like I said before, this could easily be Dallas Turner. That's a big possibility. With the Bears, kind of looking at this with the Bears picking again, receiver. This could be a team someone tried to trade up to jump the Vikings to get a quarterback. But other than that, receiver, guard. They've already taken receiver, so guard, center, defensive tackle. Or I mean, they've already taken a quarterback. So receiver, guard, center, defensive tackle are all on the board. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Roma Dunze went here. Like if I'm being on all honesty, and this isn't me. This is what I think's gonna happen. This is kind of just talking possibilities, running it through with y'all. But I think what makes a lot of sense here is Roma Dunze. Um, they need receiver 3, and why not help out your rookie quarterback with a star-studded receiving core? Jets need guard, safety, receiver. These are all backups. They've attacked the offseason pretty well. Considering Rome just fell off the board. Safety is probably going to later in the draft. Guard is really the big one. Do you draft a guy to move inside or bump someone inside? I could see it. In this case, I think the Jets would probably pull the trigger on like Joe Alt and move a guy inside. Does he fall this far? Don't know. Probably not, but it's also a possibility. In this case, I don't think they're drafting because they need a tackle. I think they're drafting to draft a tackle, the best tackle, and either have him compete and move someone inside, or move who they have starting left tackle inside. The Vikings at pick. The Vikings at pick 11. They have pick 23. Also, team who I've talked about previously, who are willing to trade up. Some things we're kind of looking at: quarterback, receiver, running back, guard, and defensive end. Be honest, think they probably go quarterback. I think they go JJ McCarthy in this case. I think JJ McCarthy comes off the board. JJ McCarthy or Michael Penix Jr. Bo Nix is also up there. Bo Nix is kind of wishy washy, hasn't had the best overall career, but was really good last season. But I know right now JJ McCarthy, a lot of spreading around the NFL, a lot of teams like him because he can run the system. And if you want to put a guy there who's going to run your system well, it's going to be JJ McCarthy. And he's going to do his due diligence. He's going to hit his receivers. He's going to do his job. The Broncos. The Broncos at pick 12, they only have one first round pick. Some things they need: tight end, center, interior linebacker, defensive end, cornerback, quarterback. Don't know if I don't think they go Olu. I don't think they adjust the offensive line. I think if Brock Bowers falls this far, I think they go Brock Bowers. They need a tight end. You have a guy who could be that weapon for you. He isn't just your typical tight end. He's what people are projecting to be something electric. I think he's going to take that. I think he's going to be really good for him. He's really the only case on why you take a tight end in the first round. But like I said before, this could be a totally different pick if Darren Waller retires and the Giants go that spot. Pick 13, you're kind of looking at the Raiders. Team who also needs a quarterback. Team who also needs a receiver, a guard, a cornerback, a tackle, and defensive tackle. I mean, I don't like if you're looking at the quarterbacks, and here's what you're debating. If you're looking at the quarterbacks, you have Penix, you have Michael Penix Jr., who's probably going to take a quarterback. Kind of looking at it, doesn't really seem like a team else. Like if you're in this position, I don't think another team would take another quarterback in the first round. With that being said, you have Olu at pick 7, or you have Olu there on your board, and you do need a tackle. I think it kind of says it for itself. Now, if there's a quarterback on the board, that kind of changes things. If there's JJ McCarthy, what do you pick? Do you want JJ or do you want Olu? You kind of contemplate that. That means one of the teams above you didn't take quarterback too. So keep that also in mind. But in this case, I think Olu falls. I think Olu goes to them. The Saints, something similar to how I feel about the Jets. They need a guard. I think they go tackle, either move their left tackle to guard or put that guard at the guard position, at the left guard position. I think that's an option. But in this case, I think it is either Troy Fatanu or Talisa Fuaga. In this case, Talisa Fuaga will move or will force someone to move to guard to fill that position of your left, and that will fill out your left side. Fuaga. With the next pick, we have the Colts. The Colts need linebacker, but then you kind of other than that, you don't really need necessarily a starter. You still need guard, receiver, and more linebackers. So it's gonna be interesting. Do you go BPA that's a possibility. Um, I'm not gonna, in my personal opinion, I'm not gonna go BPA, but I'm letting that known. Um, that's something they could do. I wouldn't also be surprised if they went and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draft Troy Fatanu and then have him play guard or either starting guard or backup guard. Well, no, in this case, no, I draft Troy Fatanu to be your starting guard and then move that backup and move that starting guard to your backup position because you do need depth at that position. Um, but this could also be, hey, whatever's available. Well, if we want Jared Verse, let's go get Jared Verse. Like this could, I mean, he could fall easily that, and then you help out if you want Quinion Mitchell for your secondary. That's also a possibility. You have the picks, you have the you have the draft capital to make a decision like that, but you're also in a position to where it's that number one spot isn't there. But in this case, I'm going Troy Fatanu for them, and he's going to be their guard. Cool. For guard. For Fatanu. Next pick is the Seahawks. They're another team who needs a guard. They also need safety. It's kind of tough to say. I Pro Football Focus doesn't need a cornerback. I disagree. I think their cornerback situation is really good. Um, it's tough for me to say where they would go. If Troy Furtano's still on the board, I think you go Troy Furtano. Do you go, J.C. Latham or Marius Mims and try to bump them inside? It's tough to say. You could all like this could be a team who goes, hey, let's just go BPA. We have the ability to do that right now just because you're not in a situation where you can go take the top guy. This could also be a team who trades back and then uses their picks that they have to trade up in the later rounds. That's possible. You say, hey, let's accumulate value and then let's go get guys we want in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever. Or you could accumulate picks for next offseason as well to go trade up. There are some possibilities. Um, it's tough to say because if you look at a guy like Amarius Mims, he's a massive guy, super athletic, super dominant. He's great in the run game. Could play right or left tackle for what people are projecting. It's just tough. In this case, since I'm not projecting them to trade or go BPA, I'm going. Man, it's tough because it's either do we go J.C. Latham to play guard for them, or do we go, um, or do we go, uh, Marius Mims, and that's where I'm kind of going back and forth on it. You know, I guess, in this case I'll just go Marius Mims. I mean, because you could also don't get me wrong, you could also draft a tackle and then bump your tackle to guard. That's also a possibility, or you could have that guy specifically play guard for you. It's it's tough to say. It's tough to say because they did sign a guard. They did sign up pick up a guard. They do need another one though. Um, at pick 17, we have the Jaguars. Um, some things available for them that I have listed down. Is mainly depth. I think they attack the offseason pretty well. Um, outside linebacker, guard, tackle, defensive end. If this is the case, do you pull the trigger on Jared Verse? Um, J.C. Latham's on the board as well. Here's the thing though, like, do you take Jared Verse and have three really good tight ends, or do you take J.C. Latham and sit him a year, and then have him go compete? You also need guard. It's interesting. I think In this case, I know I have a lot of tackles going off the board. It's just kind of crazy how the draft's falling. It's really there are a lot of things uncertain right now. I think J.C. Latham goes, um, and this is for depth. This is for depth. Have him sit a year, and then have him, and then maybe you trade a guy or something happens with how the draft's falling. The Jaguars are just put themselves in such a good position. They really did. They put themselves in a really good position to take whoever really they want. Um, Bengals, in my personal opinion, need cornerback and linebacker. Um, I think Quinion Mitchell would be a dream if he fell to them. Like I think this is like what they're hoping for. I think it's a good possibility. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. Quinion Mitchell to the Bengals to fill out that help out with that secondary. The Rams, if I'm looking at the Rams, they need tackle, outside linebacker, interior linebacker, true defensive end, defensive tackle, and center. I think if the Rams have it, they take Jared Verse at pick 19. Um, and this could be either your outside linebacker or your edge, however you want it. He's 6'3", 254, so he could play both. In this case, I'll just go edge for them. Damn, if I do this. Kind of scrolling down so you can see the next teams available. Steelers. The Steelers are a team who have been rumored to go offensive lineman, and really the only thing they need starting is a center. Graham Burton or JPJ, whoever you think is probably the best guy, is really what you think. He's projected to be their center. If he does play center, he will be. And the athletic score is absurd. It's almost 10. Like it's 9.99. Like that's insane. Didn't get a relative athletic score for JPJ, but if you do have Graham Burton, you're having a 6'5" dominant center, arguably dominant. Like this could be a guy, and that's something they do need. So I think center is where they go. Could be someone else. I wouldn't be surprised. With the next pick, we have the Dolphins. For the Dolphins, they need guard, center, defensive end, defensive tackle, and receiver. Um, receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. is on the board. Johnny Newton's on the board. Chop Robinson's on the board. In this case, I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. to give him that physical jump ball guy that they don't really have. So, and just so you know, the Dolphins have picked 21 for them. So it's kind of, I know Brian Thomas Jr. has been a guy who's risen tremendously in this draft from what we've seen, and he had a great year at LSU, so I'm not surprised. And crazy enough, the Eagles somehow managed to get a Johnny Newton. Like that's insane. That's just how the draft fell. Just works out well for them. They also need center, cornerback, and outside linebacker / edge. So good stuff to the Eagles. You get what you need. And the Eagles just keep replenishing that. Whenever whenever I saw them lose Fletcher Cox, I was like, dang, how are they going to replenish it? The way the draft's looking right now, it wouldn't be like I wouldn't be surprised if this happened and he just fell to the laps. The Vikings team who took quarterback. Still need receiver, running back, guard, and defensive end. Kind of looking at it, Chop is on the board still. I wouldn't be surprised if I know they just sorry, I know they picked up a defensive end, so maybe hey, do they not go that way? Do they go receiver? Do they go running? Do they go guard? Kind of looking at it, what's available for you guard? Christian Haynes. Do you possibly go that way? There's also kind of looking at it. Receiver. I don't think they take a running back. Aiden Mitchell. It's gonna fall. I do think they go Chop Robinson to help out with their defensive line. Kind of just really filling that defensive line and turning it into a dominant beast. Because again, they do it'd be receiver 3, and do you take receiver 3 that high, or do you just fill out the D line? Let me know what y'all think. Like, I'm still all open ears. Cowboys. The Cowboys need a lot. I'm not gonna lie. They need tackle, safety, running back, defensive tackle, center, receiver, linebacker. They just took a space eater, so I don't know if they're gonna go Byron Murphy and try to take him another space eater. Nate Wiggins, corner. They don't think they're gonna go cornerback. I think they could rise what they have. They do need a safety. I think Cooper DeJean will probably be our first safety off the board. My personal opinion, I think Cooper DeJean will probably go to the Cowboys. Pick 24. I have safety. In this case, it's kind of hard to tell with Cooper DeJean and what teams rather him being a corner or safety. It's up in the air. I think it just depends on team, really. But I'm going, in this case, Cooper DeJean to the Cowboys. Something they desperately need. They need some impact players. Packers, kind of looking at this. Safeties, they also need sucks of DeJean left. Guard, linebacker, and tackle. Interior linebacker. Now you're kind of like, okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have to kind of reach. In this case, I don't really think it's a reach. You got Tyler Guyton, tall, nimble, athletic, lengthy. Great physical, but do you think he can play guard well? You don't know. You don't really know. Super athletic guy. It's gonna need to take some time to develop, though. Do you take a chance on a guy like that, comparing to anything else you need? I think screw it. Why not? Kind of take what you can get with them. A lot of tackles moved around. There are still some tackles in free agency, so it's going to be interesting to see. But in this case, I'm going Tyler Guyton. At pick 26, the Bucks, they need guard and cornerback. I think it's going to be interesting to see. Some receivers are starting to fall. Do you take receiver, really fortify receiver 3? I don't know. But kind of looking at this for them at pick 26, guard, Christian Hayes, Cooper Beebe, cornerback. You're looking at Nate Wiggins. He's still on the board. I think you probably, in this case, you pull the trigger and draft Nate Wiggins, because I don't think you're going to have that opportunity anywhere else. And this looks really nice for them. From what they did lose, you get cheaper and you get a good corner. And then now we're starting to finish out this draft. The Cardinals took receiver earlier. So in this case, some things that are available are guard and defensive end. Like I said, we looked at the guards earlier. Christian Hayes, Cooper Beebe, that stuff like that. Edges, Darius Robinson's available. What do you take first? Do you take the guard or do you take the defensive end? I think they go relatively similar. You also have another pick. But in this case, I say pull the trigger. Either one, you kind of look good. But if you do look at it, the Bears need a guard. Um, do any of the teams ahead of you relatively need an end? I don't think so. So I think, hey, let's pull the trigger on guard, so that way you're not put in a bad situation when you can get arguably the best guard in the draft, and then you look pretty smart because now you can go defensive end and go draft a guy, and go draft like a Darius Robinson to help your team out. Like I said before, there are also defensive ends. There are lots of positions available that you could take in the in free agency still, because the draft hasn't started yet. Still stuff available. The Bills, um, receiver, defensive tackle, guard, cornerback, center. I think the Bills could either go JPJ or Byron Murphy. You know, this case though, I think you need a center. I think you take JPJ. Um, you know, I'd be surprised if you let someone like that slide just because, like, hey, like, do you take the chance on someone stealing JPJ and fortifying the offensive line? It's up in the air. Lions are on the board. Receiver, guard, center. I think they go 80 on Mitchell, in my personal opinion. They could go also Xavier Worthy. Um, I picked 29. I think this is where we see the next receiver go off the board. I think they really helped Jared Goff out. And just try to help him go over. With the Ravens also need a receiver. They also need guards. They need a nose tackle. They need outside linebacker and a tight or tackle. In this case, I could see Byron Murphy here. Do you go Xavier Worthy, or do you try and see if you can snag another receiver? This very receiver heavy draft. I think get your nose. The Ravens have been big on defense. Get your nose tackle of the future and Byron Murphy. At pick 31, 49ers really need a safety. Um, Tyler Nubin is still on the board. I would be surprised. You're not going to be able to select if Cooper Jean, yes, is a cornerback / safety, depending on what teams look at him as. But from true position that we've seen, like overall, Tyler Nubin's also on the board. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers took their chance, since they're not going to be able to have a safety or draft a safety of that caliber when they pick again. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Getting to the Chiefs, they need tackle, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback, and defensive end. Kool-Aid McKinstry's here. Take your guy. And that's going to round out the draft. Kool-Aid. Looking at it now, kind of walking through my draft, just kind of going in order. I went Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Terrion Arnold, Dallas Turner, Leatu Latu, Roma Dunze, Joe Alt, JJ McCarthy, Brock Bowers, Olu, Talise Fuaga, Troy Fatanu, Emarius Mims, JC Latham. I know I have a lot of tackles going back to back to back. Some of these guys are playing guard. Some of these guys are playing true tackle. It is weird how the drafts fall and how the draft will fall. I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen. I'm just saying this is a possibility to look at. JC Latham, Quinion Mitchell, Jared Verse, Graham Burton, um, Brian Thomas Jr., Johnny Newton, Chop Robinson, Cooper DeJean, Tyler Guyton, Nate Wiggins, Christian Hayes, JPJ, Adion Mitchell, Brian Murphy, Tyler Newman, and Kool-Aid McKinstry. This is kind of how the board's kind of fallen. Things are going to change. Teams are still going to sign guys. The board's going to keep changing. Like the draft isn't here yet. This isn't like my actual final prediction. It's just some of the things I think could happen. Other than that, let me know what y'all think. Thank you all for watching, and I will talk to y'all next time.